So you've teased my last question. I love
Okay.
to ask this question. I
Yeah.
asked it a
Yeah.
lot in 2008. What would Mises do?
Oh my God. What would Mises do?
Like
Do.
today, we just described how we got here, and we're sort of speculating as to how this might work out, and we're leaning on entrepreneurs and the American spirit to lift us out of the
Well,
tremendous mess that the government has created.
yeah.
What would Mises advise Joe Biden if he called him up and said, Ludwig,
Oh,
what should I
wow.
do?
Oh, oh, okay. Well, that's an easier question. Okay. And obviously we assume Joe Biden has the capacity to listen to Mises, and Mises is not going to soft soap him, because that's Mises.
Yeah,
Mises was still holding on to his rent stabilized apartment, but because he needed it for security, he was earning chump change. But obviously what he's going to tell Biden is that clearly all that we're really talking about, and this is what Hayek would have said too, pretty much. All that we're really facing is a wave of bankruptcies in the private economy. And bankruptcies happen all the time in the economy. It's just that there's going to be a huge concentration of bankruptcies in the private economy. And so, and the way to heal it, the way to deal with it, is to let the bankruptcies happen, as awful as that is. It's going to be painful to watch, but you have to allow the free market to sort these things out. People are going to be laid off, businesses are going to go bankrupt, but you need to allow a reorientation toward sustainable businesses that the free market will ultimately find. And then he's going to say, look up what happened in famously in 1921, when the government did nothing, and it looked like a very severe downturn, but the free market sorted it out. Because anything else you do in order to stave off these bankruptcies is going to be counterproductive, because you've got this model in your mind that we're down, and so you want to make it, you want to sort of shore up those things that are down, and you don't realize it's malinvestment, it's mistakes, it's errors that were made, and of course errors are made all the time, and we think nothing of it. This guy had a restaurant, it didn't work out. He was trying to sell frogs legs to kosher people, and so he's got to shut it down. He's laying people off. Well, what are those people going to do? Well, they'll get a job in some other restaurant, they'll do something else for a living. And that's pretty much what you have to do, President Biden, is what Mises would say. Let it happen, and it could solve itself fairly quickly.
yeah. Let the economy heal. Let free people figure things out. Let
Yeah.
entrepreneurs anticipate the future.
Exactly. And
All of
of
that.
course I guess I've passed my time, but you now prompt me to point out that the same lesson applied, of course, to the lockdowners, to COVID. Exactly the same thing. We allow people to protect themselves, to figure it out on themselves. You will have herd immunity, which I think actually did occur. The same philosophy applied, and the same rational advice applied to COVID as well.
Yeah, and I get this from the Austrians, that ultimately the market is just the process of people trying to figure things out
Yeah.
and
Try.
cooperating and imagining the future and coming up with solutions. And
Yeah.
what we didn't allow during COVID was that process. What we haven't allowed since then is that process. And my fear, my pessimism comes from
Yeah.
Joe
Oh,
Biden's not going to listen to Ludwig von Mises' advice.
oh.
He's going to keep helping. He's probably going to start propping up
Doesn't
failure
he?
and let all that. Never let
Yeah.
people heal the economy, and
Yeah.
that's my concern.